Hello Top 5 Scary Family, I'm your host Chadarena, and I'm back again to count down some terrifying lists of creepiness with you. How do you at home feel about art? I think it's cool. I've never bought any, but I can still appreciate it. Well, I do buy a lot of video games. Does that count as art? If that does, then I definitely have spent a ton of money on art, just not the kind you can hang up on your walls. But a lot of people do really like the art you can hang up on your walls. And did you know in the endless world of paintings, there are some that have a rich history of ghostly happenings, everything from moving faces to cursed spirits coming out of these pieces, and we're going to be looking at all of this with today's list of top 5 scary haunted paintings caught moving. As always, viewers, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. At number 5, we have Untitled Painting by Zdzislaw Beksiński. This is a solid place to start. The backstory on this painting, as well as all of the other pieces by this Polish painter, have quite a dark history. Now, you probably don't know which painting I'm talking about because this artist didn't title any of the paintings that he made, so let's take a look at this piece before we dive any deeper into this. Okay, right off the bat, you can see how someone could see something in this moving. There's so many layers to the imagery and almost feels like a living, breathing representation of a tortured soul, which is exactly what Beksiński was. A troubled artist with heartbreak after heartbreak, first having his wife die, and then with his son not being able to handle the tragedy of losing his mother, his son took his own life. Beksiński was now alone, and this forced solitude along with the loss of his family came through his work. The surrealist art became more bleak, and this is when rumors of his work being haunted started to swirl. The final layer of gossip surrounding the artist would be set 6 years after his son's shocking suicide. Beksiński was murdered. Now it would seem that all the dark stories that were told about the artist are coming true. People have claimed to see the faces in this artist's paintings twisting and crying out for help. It's also said that if you look at this painting for too long, then your death will come swiftly. I don't know what the timer is on it. We've all been looking at this painting for a little bit of time now. I'm not sure it's been long enough. And just if you're worried at home, know that I've been looking at it longer than you have. So keep your eyes on the obituaries, and if you see my name, then you might be next on the list. Sorry. At number 4, we have The Hands Resist Him. This painting was completed in 1974, but it wasn't until the year 2000 when it really blew up. The original message of the painting was actually something quite cute. The boy in the painting is supposed to be the artist Bill Stoneham, young with his whole future ahead of him. An endless world of possibilities could be presented to the child. The hands all over the window door, even though they look like ghostly prints of someone from the other side, they're actually meant to be each one of those paths that this boy could take. And that creepy, lifeless doll that stands next to the juvenile representation of our creator, that is the captain of his journey, the one who will show the boy what is waiting for him down each one of these possible avenues. Really, the painting represents imagination and possibility, but in the year 2000, that would change. The painting was posted on eBay with a tagline talking about how the painted was cursed and haunted. Since then, people made all sorts of claims about the painting, saying that there are spirits that are attached to it. The most famous being that the hands in the window will constantly move. If you stare at the painting at night, you can see them shift and sometimes even reach out of the painting. At number 3, we have The Dead Mother by Edward Munch. Many of you out there probably know his famous painting, The Scream. That is probably the most famous piece by Munch, and most of his artwork is in that same vein of dark and unsettling. And if you're a fan of haunted art, then you will probably know him for a completely different reason. The painting of the dead mother is supposed to be a representation of what he saw when his mother laid in her bed dead. She died from tuberculosis. That must have been a dark image to carry with you for so long, and I hope I never have to experience something like that outside of looking at his art. Now, it's not the poor mother that lays in the bed lifeless that should grab your attention, but the little girl staring back at you. People claim that as you walk around the room, the girl's eyes will move and follow you no matter where you stand. If this is true, why does the girl stare at you? What is she looking for? Is she waiting for you to leave so she can be alone with her mother? Or is she looking back at you for help? Maybe she has nowhere to go and she needs someone to take care of her now. To increase the morose tone of this painting, many people believe that the girl is covering her ears because she can no longer bear to hear the rattle of her dying mother's breathing. And the dark tales to go along with this piece don't stop there. The spirit of the dead woman is said to be attached to the painting. If you stand in the same room of the painting completely silent, then you should be able to hear the rustling of her sheets and even her rattled breathing. If you're there for long enough, you'll most likely leave like the poor girl staring back at you, trapped in the painting, covering your ears in terror. And number 2, we have the Crying Boy painting. This is a very famous painting, not so much for the detail or the skill or the look of the painting, but for all the crazy stories that follow it. The piece was created by Bruno Amato, and there are several reasons why the painting should be haunted. Could it be that Bruno tried to take advantage of someone's sadness? Could it be the anguish of the boy was so powerful that he would have found some way to spread pain no matter what? Or maybe it's simply a myth. The story goes that Bruno was walking down the streets of Italy when he saw a boy sitting in the street crying. Bruno had no clue what was causing this child's heartache, but he felt inspired by what he saw. This moment of pure grief he needed to paint. So he kept the image in his head and he went home to express his influence on the canvas. What Bruno didn't know was the reason the boy was weeping alone was because he just lost his whole family. The young boy's house burned down along with every member of his family, and he was the only one to survive. Now, what came of this boy? Maybe he was rescued by someone who saw him in the streets, or maybe he was not so lucky and he would stay there, sitting in that same spot, crying until hunger or dehydration or exposure took him. No matter what happened to this boy, something dark was attached to this painting. The person who bought the painting off of Bruno would be held to the same fate as the poor boy. Their house would burn down. But something very haunting about this is that the painting would be the only thing left after there was only the charred remains of the house. This would happen again and again and again. It's said that if you even buy a knockoff of this painting, it will cause your home to burn down. If you're an irresponsible enough person and you want to put this cursed painting in your home, then you will know that a fire is about to come when you look into the painting and it seems as if tears are streaming down the boy's face. You'll see it and you'll think it's an illusion. You'll think your eyes are playing a trick on you. But I'll tell you that when you see this, it's a warning that either you or the painting need to get out of your house now. Probably you're gonna take out the painting because I think you want to keep your home. I mean, that's the logical. I don't know, live your life. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. And for the number 1 spot, we have Man Proposes, God Disposes, Edwin Henry Landseer. There are many mysteries throughout history, and outside of getting a time machine and revisiting these places on our own to see exactly what happened, we will most likely never solve any of these mysteries. One of these great mysteries is Sir John Franklin's expedition to find the Northwest Passage. 2 massive ships, the Terror and the Erebus, housing over 100 men between the 2 of them, went off on a journey and never returned. Not only that, they left no sign as to what might have happened to them. Did they get stuck in the ice and starve to death? Did their boats crash and sink? Or was their fate much more gruesome than we could possibly imagine? The painting is a representation of what Edwin thinks might have happened. Stranded and devoured by polar bears, this historical piece is a bleak idea of what the outcome of the expedition could have been. And this expression of lack of hope seemed to have worked its way into the psyche of one student. It was 1973 and the Royal Holloway University of London was having exams. This painting was hung in the exam hall. One student began to look distressed. No one was very shocked by this because you're in the middle of an exam. It's normal to look distressed. Well, after the exam was finished, the student returned to their dorm and then took their own life. A note was found behind the painting that read, "The polar bears made me do it." Now, this stands as a rumor and people are unsure if this is actually true, but now during exams, a sheet is put over the painting so no one can look at it. Some say if you stare at the painting, you can see flesh drip from the polar bear's mouth and even feel the warm breath from the Arctic beast. All right, everyone, that has been our list, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in to watch this video. I would love it if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. And when you're in the comment section, I want you guys to let me know what you thought of the video and what you would like to see in future videos. Until next time, I have been your host, Che, and make sure you guys check the history on any art before you buy it. Bye.